Obligatory podcast intro.
Hello and welcome. This is Flipping Pages with Matt and Adam. I'm Matt with my co-host Adam, and this show is where we take all 72 letters of the alphabet, we put them in a well, and we each draw a letter and then pick a comic that begins with that letter. I don't know his, he does not know mine. Spoilers ahead for these, and specifically these, right? Because they're both completed.
Complete full story.
And we're going to spoil the shit out of both of them.
Big time.
What did we draw? I got S.
I had A.
Dude, S was hard.
You said it that immediately.
Like, I was like, oh, it's S, so I won't have any problems.
Yeah.
Dude, it was difficult.
I thought you said it was like the opposite of not having enough, though. I thought it was.
Yeah, it was too much, too many choices.
Yeah, that's what
it was.
I thought.
I drew S, so I had. Century, She-Hulk. Dude, anything. Spider-Man, Superman.
Yeah.
It was insane. So, like, having to weed through all, like, the main titles.
Yeah, a million different ones. Yeah.
When you type in comic books that start with S, you get a lot of Superman and Spider-Man.
Oh, my God.
Everything. Spectre, Sword of Azrael, Century. All these ones I wanted to do because I was like, this is cool. But every time I pick up a Marvel comic to do for this show, I'm immediately like, nope. I don't want to.
It becomes a whole process.
Yeah, I feel bad. I understand you now when you're like, these like 3 pages written
of
out
notes
just to tell a simple story about Wonder Woman.
To set up the story.
Exactly, because, this person? Well, this is what they blah, blah, blah. Much.
If you're not intimately familiar with comic books, like, deeply, then you have to, I don't know.
Yeah. So, I went to Aftershock.
Yeah, again.
Yep, this is my third Aftershock comic because they are awesome.
They are.
And I just scrolled through their S's, and I found one called Shipwreck.
Yeah.
It was written by Warren Ellis.
Oh, cool.
Up-and-comer. And Phil Hester, another up-and-comer. No, but they're both been around and done some crazy
I knew the
stuff.
first guy, the writer.
Phil Hester did, I think, Kevin Smith's Green Lantern.
Oh, did he?
And he did some...
he's the artist, right?
Yes, he's the artist, sorry.
Yeah.
Warren Ellis is the writer, creator of this. So, Shipwreck, Aftershock Comics, I believe it came out in 2018.
Okay.
I think I saw that on the little text down at the bottom.
Yeah, we've been doing some pretty recent ones, too.
Yeah, right? This one I got immediately was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I saw a sample page and I was like, this is it. I just like the art. It's very like jagged and angular. A lot of thin lines.
So rough without being sketchy rough. Just like
I don't know. I guess you might call it sketchy. Not as
not really.
Not messy like sketchy, but that style.
Just like it looks like Mignola's or whatever.
Kind of. Like I said, a little more jagged and angular.
It reminds me a lot of it, like the BPRD series.
Right.
That was the Hellboy spin-off series or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what that reminds me of.
Oh, yeah?
That art, yeah.
I never saw that, but I know what the Hellboy art looks like. It's the same guy.
It's very similar. It's not the exact same guy, but they're doing the same style.
That's Fafford. We did that 2 weeks ago.
That's a Mike Mignola thing.
I like his art.
He's cool.
This Phil Hester dude, though, like his art as well. Mm-hmm. So it starts off with a man.
No way.
He's in the water.
Okay.
And he's reaching out, and there's just birds everywhere. Tons of birds. A lot of birds. One of them's carrying an eyeball.
Oh, that's cool.
Right? And it looks like he's drowning. Next shot, next panel, he's waking up. I guess he saw that.
Okay.
So it basically looks wastelandish. It's a lot of rock, no trees. Dude, the birds are everywhere. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah,
I'll be bringing up the birds.
Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah, it does.
Type of shit, yeah.
So it's wasteland-esque, like I said, but there's a diner, there's motels, there's stuff, there's cars.
Kind of like the first Mad Max.
Yeah.
You remember that?
That's just Australia, though.
Yeah. That was just a documentary about Australia.
It's just us just getting around in Australia.
I don't know what I was thinking.
So he walks into a diner, and there's this man in this yellow, like, safety coat, it looks like. And he goes, come, I've been waiting for you. I'm an inspector, and you are my case. And he holds up a picture, and he's like, do you recognize this man? And he's like, that's me. And he's like, no, this guy died in a shipwreck. He's like, the strangest shipwreck of all time, man. He's like, a boat run aground after voyaging from another planet. And he says, Dr. Jonathan Shipwright. That is our main character's name.
Cool.
And he says, it's a pleasure to finally meet you. You walk great for a dead man.
Uh-huh.
And shipwright, I guess, Jonathan. So John is like, goodbye. He's like, I'm over this. I don't know who you are. I don't know where I am. I'm leaving. So he starts like spouting off. The inspector starts like, oh, Janus mission, the U.S. Air Force, black test flight, breakthrough propulsion, very secret. And he's like, man, how do you know all that? And he's like, I'm an inspector. That's what I'm supposed to know that. He goes, I know you believe the Janus flight was sabotage, and that's why, what's the aviation? You augured in, which is the name of the issue.
Okay.
So he goes on to tell them that you survived the sabotage and destruction of an experimental flight with which you were a civilian scientist and a developer. He's like, you had instructions to come into this new world and disappear. And you've been walking ever since, trying to puzzle out who would sabotage you and why. So he goes, talk to me, man. Prove to me you're not dead, Jonathan. So he like lifts his coat and he's like, look, we had pouches for the mission. Janus was real. He's like, this patch is the only proof that like I'm not dreaming.
Okay.
It's like everyone always laughed at me. The Air Force treat, like they never heard of me. They shouted at me. They like he has ideas, and I guess no one liked him. And he's like just basically talking about how he's felt since he came into this world. And he's just like, it's weird, I'm cold. I'm just walking aimlessly. I've only felt like there's half of me left. And then he goes into when he was a child, and he's like, he just faked his way through all his jobs, just stone face, nothing's happening inside, no love, no nothing, right?
Weird.
So he mentioned something about forensic security, and the inspector's like, oh, security? He's like, you armed? And Jonathan's like, no. And he's like, oh, I wanted to compare killing tools. And he takes his hand out of his coat, right? So the development group was called Forward Escape. He's like, we must have been insane. I don't know what's happening here. This dude's lost, very confused, super shook, obviously.
Yeah, you can tell.
And he's like, why are you writing? What are you writing? And he's like, I'm writing you, sir. He's like, I had very little info about you, so I'm writing it all down. He's like, everything you say, I draw it, I photograph it. He's like, so if I die, someone can check my notes and keep my little thing going on. They can rebuild brick by brick, so to speak. Okay. So he says, what if I told you are walking in the right direction, Jonathan? That by luck or design, you are in pursuit of the saboteur you are looking for. So Jonathan's like, he's here. It's that bastard Isham, isn't it? It's him, right? So the guy says, you may have known him as Isham, yeah, but he's not here, but he was. So Jonathan's like, he stops to go, why hasn't anyone come to visit the table? He's like, why is there anyone at the counter? And inspector's like, really strange conversations, I wonder what Mr. Isham hates about the idea of escape. So there's a lot of that kind of talk in this.
Like doubled speak or something, kind of. I don't know how to...
I'll get into it.
Yeah.
So he tries to go into the kitchen, and he's like, it's locked or barred. And the inspector's like, oh, well, that shouldn't bother you. That shouldn't affect you at all. I heard you did something unusual to yourself to prove that technology from Janus works. He's like, you say a little bird told me. So Jonathan's at the double door that goes into the kitchen. He's staring at him, and then he turns light gray smoke, and then he's gone. So look at the bottom there. You see that?
Nice.
So basically what you find out is the inspector goes, oh, the apporter mesh, the apporter mesh inside him still works. So when this guy, Jonathan, pops up on the other side of the door, there's a woman in there cooking. And she said, you have to use unsalted butter. Quite acidic, you see. There's a lot of this, so I'll get into it. But so she's cooking, and around her is like organs and fingers and just blood and eyeballs and all types of nasty stuff. And she's talking about this man where she's like, he was going to a culinary school in Paris. She's like, I mean, I was cool with it, if you love someone, let them go and they'll come back to you, right? She's like, but I was talking to this customer and I started thinking, why do you get to escape and I don't?
Yeah.
She was like, I was paying for school. I helped pay for his ticket to get to Paris.
Wow.
Like, what if I set him free and he's never coming back? She's like, I love him.
Yeah.
But he gets things done and he's improving himself. even judging him by reproductive, he's a good catch. Like, dude's hot. What's the problem? And she turns to him and she's like, not you, though. You're no use to me or anyone. She's like, you got that clever man's weakness look in your eyes. You have to control everything in your life because, oh, woe is you. You're so busy and important. You have to run it all. And she's like, but you're just a sick little boy who wants it all to be taken away. So it sounds like they're having two different conversations. He's being very literal. He's like, we've never met, and everything's already been taken away from me. And it seems like she's being very vague and like not metaphorical, but like indie movie, just
a little flowery.
Yeah. Just poetic speak where it's like, are we even talking about the same thing, right? So she goes, okay, then I don't know how you got in here, but you should try and leave the same way. And Jonathan goes, I can't. The apporter mesh inside me needs 10 minutes to cool down. I could just unbar this door. There's an armed police officer on the other side. She's like, you could try, or I got room for both of you in the freezer. And he's like, yeah, if I'm honest, I'm not sure he's a police officer. He might just be a crazy person in a bad jacket. She's like, are you still talking? She points a knife at him, so he grabs a broom, and they get into a little kerfuffle. Okay. He starts knocking all the cooking pots and pans and stuff off the table. Okay. And in the brouhaha, he actually stops to say, who was this customer you spoke to? Was it Isham? And she's like, he didn't leave a note or a name. So then they continue fighting, and she slips and falls, and very Misfits. You remember Misfits? Yeah, she like falls head first onto like a spike that was also falling. So she's dead, and he like bolts out the door. He's like gone. Yeah. He's freaking out. I mean, he has both his hands over his mouth. He's like, he just flips and runs.
He's as confused as I am.
Yes. And as I was when I was reading. Yeah. So I'll don't worry. I'll take care of you.
Good deal.
Baby boy, I got you. So he goes outside where the inspector was sitting, and there's a note that says there is a rescue mission.
Okay.
So he takes off. He starts walking. And so the next, who knows how long, he's walking aimlessly. He comes across this guy. His name is Banks, but he doesn't know that yet. So he rolls up on him. Is just showing Banks before Jonathan has met him. Okay. Right? Banks is standing over a dead body. Okay. This old, naked, dead man is sitting there with his hands and legs tied. Don't worry, man. It gets there. It gets there. Okay. So he takes his giant knife and he starts cutting him open. Okay. So he basically fleys him.
Oh damn!
Yeah, some that's like House Bolton stuff.
It's like it looks like he broke down his flesh under it too, not just like his skin.
It's very surgical. Muscles, like he knows what he's doing. Yeah,
that's gnarly.
So Jonathan rolls up and he's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "It's a sky burial." He's like,
"Okay." He's gonna let the vultures eat him.
Yeah, he's like, "The birds have to feed." Okay. And Jonathan was like, "I was following the birds." He was like, yeah, well, they have to eat too. Yeah. So this man died. This is what he wanted. A lot of people around here in these parts, this is how they go out. I guess it makes them feel good that they're giving back to the land or something. So he's like, how did he die? This is what I mean. He goes, how did this man die? He goes, how does anyone die?
Oh, my God. Sorry.
A fading spark inside a cage of meat and bone. If there was anything left of him in there, it'll soon be airborne. So the guy's just like, was it a heart attack? Did he die in his sleep? What happened, man?
Come on, Architectural Digest, spit it out.
So this guy's like, I got to break the bones and the organs down. He's like, the birds got in as much as they could, but they need help. So he's like, you want to help me? So he gets his hammer. He starts mashing his bones and stuff into powder. And then he pours out this cricket flour. He's like, helps it go down. He's like, in Tibet they use yak butter. He's like, sounds disgusting. He's like making jokes, and he's like, can I get a ride with you to town? And Banks says, I don't go to town. I live in a bar. He's like, you live in a bar? And he's like, yeah, people need to eat and drink, and if I don't have something, it's probably on its way being brought to me. He's like, it's simple, and that's how I roll. So he's like, you can come to the bar with me. And so they hear this giant bell, and this is issue 2. It's called The Bell. Mm-hmm. So he rolls into this bar, and they're like, Mr. Banks, hey, how you doing? And he's like, yeah, this guy's been traveling. It's like, get him a free drink. And he looks at this girl, and he's like, he's not for you, and he's not here for the bell. So Jonathan's kind of confused, and she's like, "What are you here for?" And he's, "I'm just passing through." And she's like, "No, really, I'm interested." He's like, "I'm looking for someone." She's like, "Maybe you found him." He's like, "No, he's on the road." She's like, "It's difficult without a car." And he's like, "It's not easy, but he doesn't know I'm looking for him." Yeah, he doesn't respond to the car comment. He obviously has the apporter, and he's not trying to tell everyone.
Okay.
So he's not worried about a car.
Oh, okay.
And Banks was like, "I like this guy because you walk." It's like people take cars for granted, especially in this world where there's nothing out here.
You're right. I keep forgetting, it's like semi-apocalyptic and shit. It's just nasty.
Wasteland.
Yeah.
But there's bars, there's
Yeah.
motels, like everything exists.
Huh.
It's just different.
Yeah.
So he's kind of like, what's around here? What is the bell doing out here? And she's like, it's got to be somewhere. He's like, my name's Jonathan Shipwright. Are you local? She's like, no, I came here for the bell. And he's like, well, let me see it. Take me to the bell. So, he's like, what? Why did he say I'm not here for the bell? And she's like, she goes out to the bell, giant bell, and there's another naked old dead man underneath.
Of course.
Yeah, right?
The naked dead man under the bell.
Yeah, and she says people come here to die beautifully. Basically, they decide, they tie them up under the bell, and they ring it, and the bell kills them. Just ruptures them, destroys their brain. The way she explains it sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Let me see. The sound waves from the bell eventually kill them. The organs rupture. Sounds awful. The tissues break down. I don't know. The brain is seized by terrible harmonics. And then Bank carries him off to do the sky burial, what he was doing when Jonathan found him.
Okay.
So he goes, do you kill people under the bell, or do they come here to be killed? And she's like, it's a beautiful way to die. And he just completely disregards that question.
Of course.
So she basically drops a hint that she knows who he is. She's like,
really?
I know everything. She's like, you carry your miniature illegal version of the Janus apporter as a physical implant. I read your interrogation transcripts. And he's like, how? Do you work with that weird inspector? She's like, no, you don't understand anything, do you? Like, you had no idea where you are, how anything works. She's like, I suppose that's okay. Our authorities really didn't grasp what you are either. What's that like to be able to go anywhere? And he's like, there are limitations to this technology. And basically she says, take it out. I want to look at it. So this is what she wants. She's very intrigued by his apporter.
Yeah.
So I never told you I was a doctor. He's like, I need to go. And she's like, you're terrified. Like, I wonder why. She's like, you're not making eye contact. I find all of this super interesting. Like, who are you? What are you doing? Right? So he's like, I need to go. Go where? Following Mr. Isham? Like, it's been talking about a certain section of people who travel around here. It's like, can you tell me if there's a town close by? And she's like, yeah, there's a town. Keep walking. You'll find it, basically.
Yeah.
So she's like, you shouldn't look so confused. I read the transcripts. Like, you built a small apporter as proof of concept, but it only moved you through your own world. The big one, with the bigger power sources, moved things between worlds. And that was what you were looking for, another world. He's like, well, here it is. You found it. So she starts kind of dropping hints about the actual world she lives in, saying like, he says, I wasn't the only survivor. Isham wasn't even supposed to be on the boat, but I know he's here. This was after she was like, where are you going to look for Mr. Isham, right? Mm-hmm. So she says, oh, yeah, why did you think we were all so relaxed about recovering a visitor from another world? You think everyone was just as surprised that you got it together to visit us back. And in such an interesting way, we don't use such heavy, complex technologies to travel with. I think the authorities saw you as primitive. They recovered you from your shipwreck, looked you over, and basically threw you away. Like, they don't know what's going on with him. They don't know who he is. They don't seem like they really even care, right? So he bounces. He's like, I'm out of here. And she's like, I'll see you again.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of dialogue with her talking. And, like, every couple of sentences, they drop a hint, and some of it means nothing. And like I said, the way they talk to each other is she's flowery, waxing, and he's, like, real literal and like concrete.
At least they're not both doing that crap.
Yeah, that would be very difficult to follow. It already kind of is, but they what they do is they drop you in with him, and you're just as lost as he is.
Right.
But the way he's acting and carrying on conversations does not seem like a confused man who
Right.
you would think every second you'd be like, where am I? What are you talking
asking,
about?
trying to figure shit out.
I don't care about your stupid bell. Where the fuck am I?
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that.
Huh.
So again, he leaves and forgot that girl's name. I think it's like Natalie or something.
Mm-hmm.
She pops up again, but that's the only time she really pops up. So he's traveling on. He comes across a cairn
Yeah.
in the middle of the road.
All right.
So the inspector just pops up out of nowhere, and he's like, how's your forward escape working out? And he's like, Inspector. He's like, yes, Inspector. Isn't this just a fascinating crime right here? And he's like, what's the crime? He's like, the cairn. You can't build cairns in the walkway right in the middle of the road.
Uh-huh.
And he starts telling them basically why they use them. Some of them are just to direct people. Others, the bunch of reasons why people do these.
Yeah.
And he starts tearing it apart. He's like, what do you think this one's for? He's like, and then he takes off a bunch of rocks and there's a skeleton inside.
Yeah.
So he pulls the skeleton down. He's like, oh, look, a clue. And Jonathan picks it up and it's a dog tag for a Captain Aubrey.
Okay.
Now, Captain Aubrey was the first pilot on this ship with Jonathan.
Okay.
So as he looks up, he was like, do you know who this is? And the inspector's gone. So he's like, in the smoke right there, you see his outline.
Yeah.
And then next picture, he's gone.
Yeah, he is. Oh my god.
So it does a little flashback where he's speaking to this Captain Aubrey. And, you know, he's in the dark. He's like, where am I? She's like, well, now that you're officially part of the Janus project, you'll start getting more questions answered.
Right.
It's like, I don't even know what state I'm in. I don't know where I'm at.
Right.
So basically, what you find out is that he built this small machine to prove that the technology worked,
Right.
and wanted the military to fund it so he could build a bigger one.
Yeah.
And what it does is it doesn't travel in our world, it travels to other worlds.
Right.
Not forward, side to side.
Yeah.
So parallel Earth, basically.
Yeah.
So that's where he's at. Sliders. Yeah, so it's cutting back to him. He's by the cairn. Still birds. Birds are following him.
Yeah.
He's following the birds. You can't really tell. Always birds
Just
above him.
birds.
Just
Birds.
tons of birds.
Burbs.
So he makes it to a hotel. He meets this young dude just there. I don't know if it's a dude or a woman. He meets this young person, and they're there, and they're like, hey, man, there's like a very cheap for a room, but if you can tell me something I don't know, I'll knock off a couple bucks.
Yeah.
So he just kind of unloads on him and is basically tells him everything I just told you about the Janus project,
Oh, okay.
how it came to be, why they're doing it, and what he tells them is that Titan is the only place in our solar system that's the closest place we could like live,
Okay.
closest to Earth. Even though it does this rain every 1,000 years, it lets loose a methane rainstorm, which would
Yeah.
kill everyone.
Right.
So he and the powers that be on Earth, his Earth, are basically like, this methane pocket could open up and kill everyone, and no one would know. And basically they start thinking all these natural disasters, a meteor, a giant meteor, a methane, tectonic plates shifting, the sun exploding, all these things they're terrified of happening. And their theory is, or their idea is that we can't have humans be on this place only.
Yeah. Okay.
So if there are humans on another Earth from our Earth, then we live on.
yeah, we can't get destroyed.
We
I
can't be
got you.
destroyed, but we're all collected on this one planet that could be destroyed literally any second, right?
True.
So that's their plan, and they don't want to spend the time traveling out in space, shooting probes to find a planet that's
I
hospitable.
mean, it makes sense.
Go sideways instead of
Yeah.
forwards, which I don't
Gotcha.
know why they call it forward escape. It just sounds better.
Yeah, I
than
guess.
sideways. It's the sidewards escape.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't work the same.
So the kid's like, oh, dude, that's awesome. You told me like 15 things I didn't know. Just take the room. And then right on cue, he has to get all flowery. And he's like, how much of everything outside the door do you figure is worth remembering?
Oh my god.
He just drops that on him as he
Yeah.
leaves. So it cuts to another flashback as he goes into his room to go to bed. It's him talking to a colonel, telling him about forward escape. And Mr. Isham is there. And he's like, who's this guy? And he's like, a civilian consultant employed by the Pentagon, right? So that's who Isham is. He's there working on his project. And this is him trying to talk the generals and all the big bosses into funding and starting this project, basically. Right. And he's trying to scare them, and they're like, one guy, he brings up this cool thing about the cold spot hypothesis. Is this real? The CMB cold spot hypothesis. I don't know if this is real in our world, but there is a constellation. It's in an area of space now considered to be thinning, like thinning of the membrane between our universe and another. I don't know if they took something real and like
right. Yeah, I don't know.
Made it cool, or they just made it up, but
right.
Sounded interesting. So that's what gets them thinking about parallel worlds. That some theories out there are that this is a wall between our universe and another.
Gotcha.
So that's where he comes in being like, we need to change Earth. We need to move some of our people to Earth, or all of them, and then start over here. Like, get everyone there, let this regrow and develop an ecosystem without humans for a while, and then we can come back.
Right.
Start over again.
Yeah.
So let's see. He has an interaction with Isham, and he goes, what if there's someone already living there? He's like, the odds of that are just insane. There's no way. And Isham's kind of like, shakes it off, whatever. So he wakes up in the hotel. This is present time. He goes out. He buys some food, which is disgusting because it's weird. So out of nowhere, the TV pops on, and it's Isham. And he goes, this was never supposed to be a country. It became a country, then 6 countries, then 23. But America was only ever a grave waiting for us to fall into it. And then it shows a crowd clapping, and then it says real history.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Jonathan just walks out the hotel. The kid's not there either.
Is that the end?
This is very empty.
That's the end?
End. No.
Oh, okay.
No. No. Do you get it? No. This is.
I was like, what? Dude.
I'm getting to the end.
Okay.
So he's walking. He left the hotel. He's walking.
More confused.
He sees a. You haven't figured like really anything yet.
I mean, you gave me the bare minimum of
and
at least
I'm doing
kind of know what's going on
with the comic. So
right.
What you're learning
the
is
timing.
what I learned as I read.
Gotcha.
And I'll just do it right now. Our segment, How Were the Faces?
Yeah, how were the faces?
Like I said, the art was really cool. There's no problem telling who anyone is.
No, they're distinctive.
Yeah, Phil Hester's art's great. Like I said,
cool.
I loved it. It's really cool to look at. Yeah, I ain't got much more to say. It didn't bother me at all.
Yeah, we're definitely not art critics.
Nope.
Can't figure that
I said jagged and angular, though.
Yeah,
I've never busted those out. So that was our segment, How Were the Faces? So he's walking, and he sees a rocket go in the sky. And he starts singing the national anthem as a joke to himself, and the rocket explodes. And he's like, oh, power imbalance. So he walks up on this woman who's working on a rocket. And she's like, you can't be here. And she's like, oh, you're Dr. Shipwreck. And he's like, how do you know me? And she's like, oh my gosh, I know everything. You're from the other place. Mm-hmm. And so she's like a fan. She read the same stuff as the other one. Okay. She's like, as the other woman. Yeah. She's like, I really wanted to meet you. She's like, I've never met anyone from another world before. And even less people with a porter, which obviously none, because you're the only one who has it. So she's like, you want to talk about the rockets? You want to see my rockets? And he's like, yeah, I can help you fix that. He's like, so you're trying to build an porter like mine? And she's like, yeah. And basically what you find out is that world to world is something they've been able to do. It's difficult, but they can do it. Yeah. And they can't make the small one.
Yeah.
In his world, he can make the small one, and it's very difficult for them to make the big one.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. So they've been able to do that since God was a kid, is what they said. And then, it's not a thing. We've been able to do that, blah, blah, blah. Let's go take a look at the rockets. And she's like, why was it difficult for you? And it kind of cuts back and says, we're traveling to an alternate Earth. Like, how is that easy for you? Yeah. So you find out this flashback now back to the Project Janus stuff. And this Aubrey chick, the captain, is just like gung-ho. She's like, we're going there to confirm it works, gather samples, map per protocol, and not a second longer. We're getting out of there. It's us. then this group, and then the colony, right? So very strict schedule they want to keep on. We go there, we get some samples, we map it, we come back.
Okay.
Next group goes, does their thing, next group, and then we start migrating, basically. So she's all like, we're about to save humanity.
Yeah.
Like, let's ride. So she's super, super into it. And Isham comes up and he's like, ready for your big moment, Dr. Shipwright? And he's like, no, it's our big moment. He's like, no, this is your baby. I'm just along for the ride. You created the apporter. All of this is happening because of you. Remember that. And to look at him, he's looking at him like, if someone did that right before a mission, remember that.
No, I wouldn't go.
I'd be like, who is this guy again?
Why did you say it so
Why'd you
creepy?
say it like that? Look at this ship. I saved that for you. That's how they're sitting inside the ship. I thought that was pretty neat.
Damn, that's dope. That's like not a Gundam, like a Voltron setup they got going.
They're like suspended, hanging
around each other.
Yeah, the captain's in the middle,
Weird
and the other
angles and
four
shit, too. That's pretty
around
cool.
her, kind of suspended in the air. It's pretty neat. So this goes into their whole like countdown. You know, we're all green, showing green, board is green,
Yeah.
blah blah blah. So Isham starts dropping things. He's like, ground power removed, onboard reactors taking over. We're running on our own power. This is really happening, Dr. Shipwright. And he's like, what? He's like, you made a little apporter to try and run away from everything, and it was never far enough. So you made a big one to run away into another world entirely. Do you think it'll be enough? And Captain Aubrey's like, yeah, enough. I'm saying enough. Do your jobs. Like, what is going on? So they do it. They actually travel to the other world. They're there. You could tell because the sky's different.
Yeah.
Birds.
I'm not.
And
Goddamn burbs.
so they start going, my screen isn't showing anything. It's not making sense. I need readings. We need to get this going. And Isham's like, relax. None of that's going to matter. He's like, you just traveled to another world, Jonathan. He's like, you should celebrate it. And he pulls out this little thing and he clicks it. So his seat ejects. So Isham is gone.
Yeah.
And then the ship starts exploding. So it catches on fire, parts are blowing off, it's going crazy. So they're strapped in their seats. They're like, fix what Isham did. What did he do? Why did he eject? They're like, don't worry about that now. Fix the ship.
Yeah.
We need to get back, blah, blah, blah. So Jonathan is reaching for Captain Aubrey. He's like, give me your hand, give me your hand. So what I think he was going to try to do was teleport with her, right, to a port
Oh, yeah.
out of the ship. But he couldn't reach her. The ship breaks and they get separated. So he's like, I'm sorry. And he ports out of there.
Yeah.
Right? He apparates. So then he falls into the water and he starts drowning, which is basically
Where
the beginning
of it, yeah.
where he started. So
Yeah.
cuts back to the engineer woman.
Okay.
And she's like, that's a crazy story.
The rocket, this is the rocket lady?
Rocket woman.
Okay,
Her
yeah.
names Nina, sorry.
Okay.
So what did I say the other girl's name was?
You made
Natalie and Nina.
Natalie.
I don't know if those are right.
No. Who knows?
So she's just kind of like, oh, that's weird. You can't do the big stuff. We can't do the small stuff. That's crazy. She's like, I have something to show you. And she shows him part of the Janus ship.
Oh, nice.
And it is a beacon for the rescue operation that's coming. Remember
Okay.
when the inspector was like, this is a rescue mission?
Yeah.
So that is what they're tracking. So he's looking at it and he's like, this is unbelievable. I thought Isham would have broke this. Like, she's like, oh, he wanted you to know where it was and where the rescue was coming. He's like, he's got a sense of humor. And she's like, and Jonathan's like, he's freaking evil. So Natalie, the other woman, shows up. She's like, I've been here. I was watching her experiments. Because remember, she wants the apporter really bad.
Yeah.
And she's dealing with this woman because she's somewhat close to figuring it out.
Right.
So what he finds out looking through the files and everything on the device that Nina has is that Isham is going to destroy the rescue vehicle, not the beacon, the rescue vehicle.
Yeah.
And he's like, why? I don't understand. And Natalie is saying, if the first mission is bad, they send a rescue team. If the rescue team doesn't come back, it'll be abandoned and considered hostile and y'all won't come.
Yeah.
So he was like, he sabotaged us. He killed actual people. Isham
Right.
did. And she said, he stopped an alien invasion. So Isham because they could travel world to world, is an agent of the authorities. He left this Earth and came to Jonathan's Earth, sabotaged their mission. So basically stopped technically an alien invasion. Which they're humans and humans, but parallel humans. So
I gotcha.
That was his mission. That was his job. And so real quick before I get into like the very end, a lot of this book is focusing on the fact that he has to control everything. He is someone who is in control of everything in his life, and how much it doesn't even matter. It's all circular to him.
Okay.
He's trapped in a circle because I've wanted to run away so long for so many reasons that I finally did. And I ran to a place that I don't like. And now he's trying super hard to run home. And they're all pointing this out to him. Like, why are you here then? Right. What did you do this for? Like, why are you always running? Blah, blah, blah. Right? So they basically find out Natalie, she wants the reporter. So he's like, fuck, fine. I'll write it all down. Y'all can build it. I'll give you all the math.
Yeah.
Just take me to the rescue site because I can't figure it out. So she's like, fine, deal. Get him paper and pens. He got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, right.
So as they're driving, and he drops a bombshell on them when they're like, he stopped an invasion. He's like, do you know how many people are on my Earth? And they were like, how many? And he was like, 7.8 billion. And they were like, what? And he was like, I'm glad we didn't succeed because I don't ever want to come back here. I don't think I would never tell anyone to come here. And he basically starts commenting on like, why is there nothing here?
Yeah.
Why is it a wasteland?
Why is it like this?
All she says is it wasn't always like that, but it is now, and it's our home.
Yeah.
So somewhere along the line, their America's history obviously deviated from ours, where we have crazy satellites and space programs, and which it's funny now that I'm thinking about it, you never actually see Jonathan's Earth.
Oh, really?
No, you never see it. So who knows what their Earth is. These might be two different Earths, bro. They might not even be ours.
Yeah.
This could be two other parallel Earths, right?
I would imagine probably it's supposed to be, yeah.
So very different. Wasteland, he's like, no, we don't even want to be here. We don't want to live on your shit Earth anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So they form the deal. They all get in the car, and as they're driving, this is weird. So he starts seeing strange stuff. He's looking out the window. He sees a guy with, it looks like an astronaut's outfit, wearing like just a ball cap.
Yeah.
Walking camels. And then he's broken down freeways. He sees a ship in the desert on its side. Underneath, he sees Mr. Banks. He sees the girl cook that killed that guy. Sees the hotel manager. He sees Mr. Banks' bartender, and then he sees the Cairn with the little skeleton face sticking out.
Oh, that's cool.
Down there on the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
So they're like, you okay? And he's like, no, I just thought I saw, never mind. And the last thing they see Easter Island heads just lined up down the road.
Oh, right.
And then there was another point where there is a bunch of little kids wearing boxes on their heads. There was a church on fire behind them, and they were running around with power lines.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
So this is where you kind of get into him. She's like, I don't get you. You know, you invented this thing and put it inside your body so you could go anywhere in your own world, and then you develop a machine to take you to another world. And he's like, besides the obvious disaster argument, he goes, I'm a coward. I'm weak and I'm easily led and I'm scared of everything and everyone. I'm a coward. So I built something to help me run away.
Yeah.
And then Nina's like, you're actually kind of creepy. And she's like, but as we drive towards the rescue point, it does occur to me that your running away comes full circle, which is him trying to run home, basically.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, there's the weird church and the kids with the power lines.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Makes sense.
They're doing it like a Mayday pole, but it's a power line. Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, right? I guess there's no power because they would be dead.
Yeah. Or that's what's powering them. They're dead and they're getting powered by
maybe they're robots.
Yeah.
They're little robot
that's
cardboard
what
head
their
robots
cardboard heads symbolize.
to cover the robot head.
Yeah.
All right, so he's invested, kind of asking Natalie about like, why do you want this supporter so bad? Why do you want the thing I have? And she was like, let's just say it would benefit me in this world to have that.
Okay.
And he's like, oh, so you're a criminal. And she's like, shh, don't say that word too loud. Because they pull up, the inspector's right there. He's the authority, right? It was a joke.
Yeah.
So he's just chilling on the side of the road. And so this is the last issue. They're driving. No one's talking. They're like, this is a great trip with friends. And the inspector's like, hey, I brought you a tool just in case you needed to work. And he gives them this giant knife. So he's like, here, take this. So they get to the Golden Gate Bridge, which is just in the middle of the desert.
Okay, of course.
I guess. Or San Francisco is now a desert.
Okay.
Which would make sense. The ship out there and then the Golden Gate. Or it just looks like who fucking knows?
Yeah.
Anyway, they pull up to it. Isham is standing there and he's like, oh, the inspector was like, we're going to a crime scene. And he like points to Jonathan. He's like, yours. So Jonathan gets out and he's like, oh yeah, there's gonna be a crime scene, walking towards Isham like, and Isham's like, wait, and the bridge explodes. And he's like, what'd he say? He said, you were supposed to die. Jonathan, who knew that ridiculous supporter of yours actually worked so well? Yeah. And the inspector's like, lower your weapon, man. And Natalie is like, what are you doing? He's like, the rescue vessel is coming and it's going to return empty. And he's like, and here it comes. And it was supposed to land on the bridge, right? That's why he blew it up. So it is just floating there. And he says, you're not getting to this vehicle, Jonathan. Like, I'm pretty sure you can't apport there. So if you try anything, I will kill you. He's like, you came all the way here. You never planned on going back. Why do you even want to be rescued? Yeah. And Jonathan's like, because this place sucks and nothing makes sense. And he's like, well, if your home planet made sense, why did you want to run away from it? And then he goes into, I'm afraid of everything. I'm a coward. Yeah. And Natalie goes, so are we. Nobody understood you back there because you were afraid of everything and they weren't. You've come home. Like, this is where you belong. Right. And Isham is like, also, I'm not letting you go back.
Yeah, he said that. Yeah.
Yeah. So Natalie is like, Isham, we got this. We're winning. So Jonathan kind of flips out. He's like, winning? What? You want the apporter that bad? He's like, I gave you everything. He's like, how are you winning? He's like, we. Isham was supposed to be sabotaging our ship, but did you tell him to get the secret of my apporter? And she's like, yeah, I didn't know he was going to follow the rules or the mission that the authorities gave him. I thought he was going to do what I wanted him to do. I didn't tell you to kill the whole damn crew. So the inspector is like, our authorities don't want your apporter, doctor, and she is not with us. Isham is an agent of ours, but not her, right? So he's just kind of like, I don't understand why you want this so bad. He's still kind of grilling her about it. He's like, everywhere I've seen you, you've been the one in control. And she just kind of gives him a scowl and walks off. That was it. So, let's see here. Inspector says, well, Dr. Shipwreck, what if everything that happened since you arrived was just to show you yourself? And you arrived here, a place you hate, a place you find forbidding and awful, where no one from your world can follow you. He's like, maybe this is where you are always supposed to be. So Jonathan's like, thank you. He says, when the Janus was going down, I reached out for Captain Aubrey, but I couldn't get to her. And I had the choice to die or run. He's like, so I ran. And then he goes, but Isham, you're here right now. So he lunges at him. And the inspector's like, ooh, listen closely to this part, Mr. Isham. So he goes to shoot. Jonathan lunges at him, grabs him, and they start to apport. And Mr. Isham fires a gun, and it shoots Natalie right in the eye hole.
Right in the eye hole.
So she's dead. So they pop up on the ship. He apported to the ship, which he can make it. And there's no telling his distance. Sometimes it's short, sometimes it's really long. You don't know his actual limit to it. Right. So he pops on the ship and he says, didn't say apporting two people didn't hurt, just that I could have saved Aubrey if she'd been in reach. So Isham is laying on the ground. He's coughing up blood. And Jonathan pulls out that knife the inspector gave him. And he cuts the shirt off his back and he carves saboteur into his back. He throws the dog tag for Aubrey on the ground. And then he hops into a... Oh my gosh, I forgot the word.
Into a...
The ship's the ejector.
Escape pod?
Escape pod. He jumps into escape pod. It fires off and leaves Isham to travel back to his Earth with Saboteur carved in his back.
I gotcha. Okay.
With the dog tag on the floor.
Okay.
So basically, Jonathan comes back to this world, or not our world, that world. He decides to stay there.
Oh, okay.
With all the Natalie and who's dead now, or Nina and the inspector.
All the weird fuckers.
All the weird stuff.
Yeah.
So when he gets out of his ship, he goes, "My birds are gone." And he starts crying. He starts running. He's sliding on rocks. He's still crying. He's climbing stuff. He's crying.
Yeah.
And then he sees a big town and he starts running towards it. And then there's a big flock of birds behind him.
Yeah. Huh. That's not how it was going. I thought it was going to be a fucking god-awful ending.
It's a road Sundance indie movie.
Yes.
Like those weird indie movies where you're kind of, oh, why did he say that to him at that moment? Well,
you'll get the explanation later, or if you're lucky.
That means whatever you want it to mean. No. It was cool though. It was like really good writing. It's Warren Ellis, so it's great writing.
I like how they wrapped it up. I didn't think it would wrap up really very well at all.
So
but that works.
It works. Now, was he in limbo?
I think that fool was like
purgatory
dead or something. Yeah, is what
could
I
have
thought.
been purgatory.
That's what I thought at the beginning.
Because the inspector seemed to have some kind of supernatural gifts.
Yeah, he seemed to know shit that he shouldn't have known. First of all,
knew that he disappeared from the cairn when he was right beside him.
Yeah,
he popped up on the side of the road where he was supposed to be. He gave him the knife because he knew he would need it.
Yeah,
just the way people talk to each other. Just the way, like, there's 6 characters. You never saw anybody else.
It felt like they were always in a Monty Python skit during it.
It's a very strange road movie. Yeah. And I love road movies. I love when you can just, and then this happened because it's crazy. This is why it got crazy, because I love that shit.
Yeah,
like
that's cool.
The 7th Harry Potter movie. Love that
one. Oh,
one.
yeah, that was a good one. Yeah.
And that's what I got from this. But there is no clear... What is it? The only parallel Earth? Is this the 48th parallel Earth out there, and that's why it's weird?
Yeah.
Was the deviation from our history what made it weird?
Right.
I mean, and then the whole thing about him having to control everything, and it was just to let go. That's some life lesson.
Yeah.
Purgatory shit or afterlife stuff.
I thought it was gonna be like a Christmas Carol or whatever.
Right, where it starts over and then I know what to do now type shit. Yeah. So I couldn't tell you. I know exactly where he was.
Oh, no, they don't want you to know for sure.
What is his life going to be like afterwards?
When he goes back or whatever?
No,
he's staying. He stayed.
He's staying on parallel Earth. So
it's weird as hell. Your life is going to be weird as hell.
Yeah, and maybe that's what he likes. Because he said, I've always felt different. I always felt like an outcast.
You might be right.
He said he always felt like he was from another world. The part I loved is when I found out that Isham was from their world and had traveled to Jonathan's world to sabotage their mission.
That was pretty freaking cool.
Basically to stop an alien invasion. I would love to see a comic from Isham's point of view.
Oh man.
We're like getting the mission briefing of like, you have to stop these people.
Right.
That's cool.
Cool.
They said Isham works for the authorities. You never see them.
Yeah.
Apparently they rolled up on Jonathan, found him, disregarded him, and said, he's no one special. Just let him be.
Weird.
What is their hierarchy like? What is their society like?
Yeah.
He was running towards a city, but you never see a city. You saw a diner, a bar, and a motel.
Very desolate type things. That's weird.
Yeah, man. It was vague enough that I am still a little confused about everything. I'm sure, not confused, but I'm sure if I dug around, I could find some questions that would make me like then be confused. But overall, no, it was a great story. Really good writing.
Yeah.
Although the great writing comes the second or third time you read it.
Yeah.
The first time you're like, okay, I got it. The second time, it's like the second time you watch Shutter Island, you're like, I see it now. I get it.
Right.
The third time was like, I understand everything. But it was strange. And then the way I presented it to you was the way it was written. It was like,
the
you
order
didn't
that it
learn
was
these
written in,
things
yeah.
until later. And even after I closed it, I'm still like, wait,
Yeah,
what about this? I think he might have been dead, though.
Yeah, that's
think
what I thought. Early on, that's what I thought.
the ship exploded. He can't port at all. It might have just been some project that the government was doing that he was a part of, and none of that shit we heard was real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Could have been
believe
just
it.
some nonsense made. Or he could be floating in the water still.
Yeah, true.
Or drowning. All of that happened when he was drowning.
God,
You know,
yeah.
one of those.
Yeah, those are rough.
But I liked it. I guess 8 thumbs up.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You're good. So I got A, and
Hey, what?
yeah, pulled A. This is a way to say that.
Pulled a
I
what?
pulled A, and I was trying to decide if, like, this one's called A God Somewhere, if that counted.
Yes.
And I was like, yeah, it counts, whatever. So this is put out by Wildstorm, that is owned by DC. It came out in 2010, but it's set in 2003.
Ooh, weird.
Yeah, so that was cool. I mentioned the timing to you earlier.
Yeah, well, you're right. There's not a lot.
There's not a lot of stuff around that time, so that's cool. We get introduced to Eric, Hugh, and Eric's friend Sam. So Eric and Hugh are brothers. They live in Irving, California, like a really nice area. We meet them as adults. They work for like a UPS company. Yeah, Sam and Eric are going to Hugh's house, and Hugh is actually the younger brother. Eric is the older brother, but Hugh's more successful than Eric. Hugh's got like a really nice job, and his wife's got a good job too, and they're delivery drivers, which isn't a bad job. But his brother makes more money.
Right.
So they're showing up to his brother's house to discuss buying a boat together. They're all three technically all four, gonna buy a boat. They grew up sailing, and they rent boats all the time to go out. So they're like, we're spending all this money to rent boats.
Yeah,
we might as well
one.
buy one.
I hear the call of the sea.
So you have the discussion. They're in the house talking about if it's worth it to buy the boat, whatever.
No.
And then we see how Eric, Hugh, and Sam met. Sam is a black kid who used to live in where did he say? He used to live in Oakland, and his dad got a nicer job, and they moved to Irving. So he was like, this was before 2003, so it was the 90s, I guess. He was the only black kid there.
I was gonna say probably.
Yeah, he stuck out. He says being a new kid isn't so bad if you can blend in. And like the picture is him standing between the most blonde people you've ever seen in your entire life. Like statistically, this school has more blonde people than the rest of the world combined. Yeah,
like
it's just it's easy to tell the difference and like a contrast. But I thought it was funny. So like
school of Lannisters.
They're all blonde, and then there's 2 girls with red hair, which is even less common than blonde hair.
Right.
If you didn't know, I think blonde's like 11% or something, and red's like 2%.
Yeah,
something low.
Not a lot.
So he's this. Oh yeah, it's during the 90s. It's during the Rodney King riots.
Oh damn! So 92.
92 or something. Yeah. 93? 1992. Yeah.
Did you sing the Sublime song?
Yep, that's how I remember. Okay, so he's at school, and these kids are like, I guess you'd like the jock kids are standing around reading a newspaper, like getting mad about these riots and shit. So they see Sam just kind of hanging out, and they call him the N-word. He goes, nobody had said a word to me in 8 months. He goes, it wasn't so bad. And then he goes, and then they did. And then that was the first thing somebody said to him.
Right.
So that's a fucked ass way to start.
Yeah.
I guess 8 months in start, but you know what I mean. So they ask him, they go, why aren't you partying with your homies down in South Central? And his response is gold. He goes, there's no correct answer to that question, is there?
Right.
What's he going to say?
So he's smart.
He's they portray him as an extremely smart man. So he starts getting whooped, like mud hole stomp type. Somebody's holding his arms behind his back and getting punched in the face. Then they kick his teeth out.
Oh my god!
Then as he's on the ground, and he's trying to get up. One of them stomps on his hand and breaks a bunch of his fingers. Jesus. So like as that's happening, then like after he gets his hand stomped, the next panel is like a really cool action shot of the bully's legs, and then somebody just coming like a football tackle out of nowhere and hitting him, and he flies really far, and the bully guy lands direct. Yeah, come look at this. So like here, look. So he's getting beat up.
Yeah.
And as he's getting beat up, he just got his hand broken. Here's the guy with the blue sneakers is the bully, and that's our guy Eric. So Eric and Hugh come out of nowhere.
Hell yeah.
And just start annihilating the bullies.
Eric and Hugh white dudes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're also. This school is blonde Hitler heaven or
like
something.
it's like a prerequisite.
Yeah,
like
so
a requirement.
they both have extremely like super. It look like surfer blonde hair. Like you have blonde hair, but also you're in the sun all day. California hair. They're in Irvine. Yeah. So they come out of nowhere and they just start whooping. What's his name? Carl. Carl's the guy that started the fight with Sam, and Eric is just destroys him, absolutely destroys him.
Good.
And he's like, you got off easy, Carl. He's like, remember that. He goes, you remember that. So what is it? Jesus Christ. Hugh and Eric are like, hey man, let us give you a ride. Let us take you to the nurse. And he's like, nah, man, I'm fine. He's like, dude, we didn't just save
got
you.
Your teeth kicked in.
He goes, we didn't just save you to watch you bleed out on the pavement, bro. And Eric's like, hey, I think his hand's broken. We actually need to take him to the hospital. So they take him to the hospital.
Yeah.
This is the first time they've met, and they're already like, hey, they just saved him, and then they take him to the hospital.
Hell yeah.
So then we get back to the modern time, so 2003. They're all adults. They're kind of partying at Hugh's house because he's got the nicest house.
Right.
They get in a little argument. Eric and Hugh do because they're brothers, and it's over like nothing. And then I understood the third time I read it. He's jealous of Sam and Eric's friendship. They're super close. So Hugh feels like he's like the odd man out with his own brother.
Right.
So because Sam and Eric, very close. Yeah.
There, you said Eric is
the older.
Hugh's the younger one.
Yes.
Right? How much younger?
A couple. They were in high school together. So
Okay.
a year or two, I guess. At most 4.
Okay, so nothing crazy.
So they, get in a little argument. They're talking about the boat thing. They want to buy that boat. I was talking about that earlier. Did I? Yeah. I couldn't remember. And so they party. They get in a little argument. They leave. Eric goes home, and Sam goes to like the makeout point, like the overlook of the city that they have in all movies and whatnot. He's sitting there drinking a bunch of beer, smoking cigarettes.
Just beats off.
Yeah, and then out of nowhere, it doesn't even show that it's a meteor. I feel like it's a meteor, and he the way they talk about it, they say it's like a meteor, but there's no streak. It's just an explosion.
Okay.
So
in the sky? Or
no,
on
the friggin' ground.
Okay.
And Sam's like, holy shit. He starts driving. He goes, that's Eric's neighborhood. He goes, I know it would not, I know it was close, but Eric's fine or whatever. He gets close, and he sees that there's Eric's building that got hit.
Oh, damn.
So Sam is, he's ballsy in this. He sees there's a baby. Okay, so you know how last week, if you didn't hear last week, I critiqued a comic that I didn't do because it was gory for no reason and scandalous for no reason.
Yeah.
This excels where that one failed. So there's a baby with her mom's head is just completely mushed on the ground, but that needs to happen right now, and it's not a close up. It's part of the frame. There's a bunch of people wounded, and it was at night, so everybody's kind of in their underwear and stuff. So it's Sam rushing into the building and people rushing out. It's a cool panel. And he gets there, he's running upstairs. There's all these dead bodies everywhere. So many people died from it. Like whenever you see the side of the building, 2/3 of the building is gone.
Damn.
2/3 of the building is gone.
Damn. So that shit got messed up.
Sam gets to Eric's bedroom and he's just sitting on the bed.
What?
Hanging out. And Sam's like,
dude,
Eric?
knock.
Sam's like, Eric? And he goes, hey, what's up, dude?
What?
So you're like, what the hell? So then it jumps into like, so this whole thing, our main character is Eric, I would say, but it's more from Sam's point of view.
Okay.
And also from Alma, which is Hugh's wife, and Hugh's point of view. Mm-hmm. So everyone's surrounding the main character's point of views mostly.
Okay.
So this goes into like a omnipotent like showing what happened around the building exploding. It's talking about all the people that were trapped, all the people that are dying. Then they show Eric at the hospital getting checked out. They're like, he's completely fine. It's ridiculous. His blood works weird. We don't understand what's going on. Something's weird. We need to do more tests.
After the meteor?
Yeah, he's sitting in the hospital getting checked out. So as he's sitting there, he hears a fireman come in and start yelling at all the first responders. We need you all to leave. Go back to the building. We found live people. We need y'all to help us go dig out all these live people. And Eric's like, did you hear that? Like, we need to do something. And Sam's like, what? And so Eric starts like walking fast, like briskly and like more briskly to the point where his gown starts ripping off from the speed that he's moving. And then by the time he gets to the entry/exit of the emergency room, he busts through and just destroys the entire front part of the building. Nice. And it looks like it doesn't show him kill anybody, but people are getting hit by the glass. You know how like in The Boys they show like how hardcore a speedster would be to everybody around him? That's kind of what they're doing here. Okay. So he flies. Cool. He comes out of that room and starts flying. He hasn't flown yet. Yeah. I was gonna say, this is the first time he's done anything crazy.
Does he know he can do this?
Okay, so later he talks about how immediately after the explosion, he knew something was different about him. Okay. So he did know something was up. So he basically flies back to his building and starts rescuing people. He's pulling half of the building up.
The gown's gone now.
Right? He's butt naked.
Hell yeah.
He lands butt naked, does not care. Saves.
Is he hanging dong?
Yeah.
It shows it?
Yes, they do in one part.
Is it big?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, but normal. I would say normal. So he's there picking up giant parts of the building, saving all these people, and everybody's like, oh, this is amazing. He came out of nowhere. He's saving everybody, and the fire chief's like, many people lived because of what Eric did.
Of Eric.
So immediately,
naked man.
The news was there already because it's been a while. So the news was there, filming the entire thing. They saw him come flying in. They filmed him naked, picking up all this stuff. So instantly, everybody around the world basically knows about him.
How many people did he save after he came back?
Oh,
when they found out there were live people.
It shows like 15 people or so.
Okay.
Like quite a few. Okay. Remember that, though. He saved about 15 people that time.
People. Yeah.
And then you also have to take into account the people he probably hurt really bad at the hospital. Because like I said...
They're already at the hospital.
Yeah, luckily, thank God.
They're
fine. Like I said, it didn't really show anybody like coming apart, but it showed people getting hit by stuff. So I don't know.
They got some
so
scratches.
He saved 15 there. Let's knock it down to 14 because he probably hurt somebody at the hospital. So you get some flashbacks to their high school, more of their high school, and how they met Alma, how Hugh met Alma, and Sam, their friend, really like had a super crush on Alma forever. He was in love with Alma, basically. So he never is trying to like hit on her or do anything. He's just like unrequited love type of thing.
Right.
So that's a big part of this. It's like a kind of a love triangle, but more of just like a love one way type of situation.
Does she know?
No, not really.
Oh, damn, that sucks.
Yeah. So,
well, I guess that would be better.
So this whole story, like this main chunk of the story actually takes place over a couple days, like a week or two. And then there's a time jump, a long time jump, and then it's like a couple days. So like the part we see is probably like a couple weeks of these people's lives. So after he saves all those people, he goes to Sam's house because his house blew up. He sleeps. Everybody's trying to talk to him, trying to figure out what's going on. He wakes up in the morning and instantly just starts flying around and doing stuff. He's already like trying to save people and shit. So there's a giant North Hollywood shootout. You remember that? The guys that had the machine guns.
I was talking about that the other day.
Yeah, it's all the guys with the machine guns and the body armor. So that's happening in this comic. They've killed 7 people, which in the North Hollywood shootout, no one died except for the shooters.
They did,
yeah. So these guys just killed 7 officers, and a lot of the cops are like, why don't we just shoot 50 cals at them? They're wearing all this armor, but we can do it. And then, like, oh, we got to hold back so we don't hurt innocents, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So they show the cops being really mad about that because they keep dying and they should be able to kill them, but they're not allowed to. So the cops are mad.
Yeah,
So
they just right now.
So-
right now.
so
just
Eric-
shoot away.
So they're shooting. One's in a car, one's in a truck, and the other one's outside shooting. So it's just like the North Hollywood shootout.
Oh, yeah.
Eric comes in like a meteor, like rods from God, like I told you about,
Yeah.
and just decimates the truck instantly. It just explodes into a million pieces. And then the guy that was outside the truck shooting, a bunch of his armor fell off, and Eric kind of walked past him and just backhanded him, and he just fucking 30 yards back behind him.
Damn.
And the cops come up and they're like, hey, what's the, or they go, damn, look at his face. The guy that he slapped, they go, damn, look at his face. We need to call EMS. And the one cop goes, eventually. Because he killed 7 of the cops.
Yeah,
so he's
right.
like, no, we're going to let this dude suffer.
For what? He's dead.
Yeah. So now, this is like, let's say a week or 2 after it started. He's living in a hotel for free. He's like super famous. And he was always really religious. But now he basically thinks he's Jesus because he has all this power, and he's like comparing himself to Jesus.
Oh,
And
he's doing it. It's not the media or
no,
it's
well,
him.
he's the one that brought that idea up, and so the
Of
media is
course,
running
yeah,
with
people
it or
jump
whatever.
on it, for
And
sure.
Sam is like agnostic at most. You know what I mean? And so he's like, I don't know. Why would you think God's doing this? Like, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
So we start to see Eric changing. So he's already like super religious, and he's kind of flighty now, and he's weird. He's already weird. He's not bad guy. He's not doing anything wrong. If anything, he's being super Jesus freaky.
Right.
So he's already changing. You see it. Like, he's already changing. He's super famous. Everybody's trying to interview him all the time. His family doesn't get to see him, really. His brother and him are like fighting with each other. They don't really talk that much. And he finally goes and meets up his family for the first time. It's been like a couple weeks since it's happened. He hadn't seen them. He goes and sees his mom, his brother, everybody. They kind of get in a little bit of a tiff, a little bit of argument. The media shows up. He has to like jet out of there. So that's kind of like the way that the rest of this goes is he shows up somewhere, stays there for a little bit. All the media comes and he has to leave. So he never really gets to stay anywhere very long. He goes and he flies around by himself, and that's how he chills.
Yeah, that would blow.
Yeah. So he eventually gets like tries to endorse the president and stuff, and he like goes to meet with the president, but he just got in an argument with his brother over the boat that was going to happen earlier. And so when he goes to meet with the president, he's like Homelander in this part where he's like, y'all are just men. He keeps saying that. Y'all are just men, idiots. Y'all don't know anything more than the next guy. Why are y'all in charge? So he's getting real rough already. He goes, what can you do for me? If I endorse you, you're gonna win. What can you do for me? So he's like extorting the president already.
Nice.
So he jumped from Jesus freak to extorting the president in like one step. He was
Extorting America.
yeah, basically. So we see that Sam's kind of like taking the limelight really well. He's liking it. He's getting groupies and stuff. So Sam's kind of enjoying this. Like I said, Eric and Hugh,
As his friend.
yeah,
They're still
they're
kicking
still
it?
friends. Really close friends. It's his only
Okay.
connection to the real world.
Right.
So like I said, Hugh and
Alma.
Hugh and Eric got in that argument about the boat.
Yeah.
And he went and did the thing with the president, and then I think it's that night, the cops are patrolling Hugh's neighborhood because Eric made them. He's like, people are breaking into that neighborhood, so you got to make the cops go there. He bribed them basically to go watch his brother's place. So they're driving by and they see that Hugh's door is open, and they're like, Jesus Christ, bro, we fucked up. The entire reason we're in this neighborhood is to make sure that one house doesn't get broken into. So they're like, we're fucked, we gotta go. So they run in there and they're like, Mr. Dude, they got a really weird name.
Mr. Hugh.
Yeah, it's I'll read it here in a minute. It's very weird. So they go run in the house and they see Hugh on the ground, just in a giant pile of blood and just mushed. He's mushed up. And then, come here, you have to see this picture. And then this is the next picture you get after seeing Hugh mushed. Is that not insanely off-putting? That's Eric, by the way. And that's Alma, Hugh's wife. So what happened is Eric showed up to Hugh's house, threw him around like a rag doll. He's paralyzed for the rest of the comic.
Damn.
For the rest of the comic. And then he sexually assaults his wife.
I was going to say, as soon as you were like, he's on the floor in blood, I was like, why would Eric do that? Because I figured it was him.
So at this point, he's like snapped. He's thinks he's God. He truly thinks he's God. I'm about to get into it. Not just like Jesus God, like a different God. So I'm just going to get into it now because there's no reason to... No, I'm going to wait.
Call
they
me
bring it
Gob.
up. No, I'm going to... I don't need to say that then. Okay, so in one part, he's talking to Sam later on. I'll just say it's later on. He's talking to Sam, and he talks about a dream that he had where he was a god in a smaller universe. That's how he keeps putting it. Okay. A smaller universe. A smaller reality, too. Like he said universe, reality, like whatever. He said, I was a god there, and everyone worshipped me. I could do anything, but I already had. So he was bored. He had already done everything. And so, like...
Oh, okay.
So he was like... He said, I need a bigger universe. I need a bigger place. I need to experience more. So he truly believes that he was a god in another smaller universe, like Microverse or something maybe, and that now he got transferred to this universe, even though he lived that whole life normal. He's so twacked out from the incident that gave him the powers or whatever that he's just completely snapped now. He's donezo. He thinks he's a god from another reality. They never actually explain how he gets his powers. Not once.
That's cool.
They explain what his powers are, and this is cool because he just has telekinesis. He doesn't have any extra strength.
Oh, really?
He doesn't have anything. We've discussed this before, many times actually.
I did it in one of my stories.
He just uses it's all telekinesis.
Yeah, because if you like practically, you could do a lot of stuff with telekinesis.
It's everything basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
So they're like for him to resist the amount of like bullets and stuff that he can, his organs and his skin would be harder than steel. If that was true, he wouldn't be able to move. His organs wouldn't be able to function. So that's how they guess that it's a telekinesis.
So when he hits, he's actually pushing.
Yeah, it's just that's how he's in his mind that he doesn't know it's telekinesis.
Punch, right.
So he's punching and it's using
and then he's flying.
So you actually don't find that out towards the end.
So does that mean like a regular knife could cut him if he wasn't paying attention? Because he would have to like activate.
He doesn't have to.
It's
It's automatic. Okay. It doesn't have to even be awake or whatever. So we see that Hugh is paralyzed now. Alma's in the hospital. Sam's going to see him. Alma doesn't want to see anybody, and Eric's in jail, in an orange jumpsuit in jail, and he goes. Sam goes to meet him, and he goes, they told me the only reason you turned yourself in and allowed yourself to be handcuffed is because you said that you wanted to talk to me, and the cops agreed that they'd bring me to you. Eric's like, yeah. So they talk for a minute. Eric's kind of like, nothing matters. People are supposed to die. None of this shit matters. He just has like a weird little conversation, and Sam's kind of like, why? He's like asking why. He doesn't want to tell him why. It doesn't. Nothing matters, basically. So after a little argument they have, Eric just like now is starting to actually use it like telekinesis.
Yeah,
and he pushes the wall open and he busts outside and he can fly and he's invulnerable. So all he needed to do was to fly away. He doesn't do that. For the next 20 minutes, he kills every single army man, tank, plane, helicopter, janitor. Doesn't matter. He kills them all. Kills every single person. He's just ripping them to pieces. Like
civilians just walking
anybody
down the street?
He throws a tank at an apartment building that looks a lot like his apartment building, and he collapses a big chunk of the apartment building, and you see a baby falling out. You see a couple that were making love falling out. You see a woman ripped in half falling out. And then it shows like a family unloading their car. having a movie night, talking about what chips they're gonna make, and when the kid goes, "What's that noise?" and then the next frame, it's the tank falling on top of them. So he's doing it on purpose.
Well, yeah.
This isn't like he's trying to escape and knocking some people out of the way or whatever.
Because like you said, he could just fly away.
Easy.
He's
So he
being
just
a dick.
kills every single person he can find. And Sam's alive. Sam's still alive. And he comes out and he looks around at the just pure destruction. He goes, said what I said. He goes, he could have just flown away.
Right.
Why didn't, if he wanted to escape, he could have just flown away.
You don't want to.
And then we get a giant time jump. So all that happened in like a week or two.
We
So
about
he
to get
went
some injustice shit.
he
right?
he went from, like I said, like God Squad to just evil in a couple weeks with power. From the power. So now we have a little girl standing in front of a candy shop. And a shadow comes up from behind her, and she turns around. She goes, "Oh, you're not Mr. Alty. You're not the guy who opens the store or whatever." And you see that it's Eric, but now he's got like he looks like Fat Thor. If you want to come see, he's been eating. He was really skinny before, so now he's not fat, but he's very chunky, and he's got giant braids and his like basically white hair, and he's talking to the little bunny or whatever.
That dude's fixed my truck before.
So he's like, "Oh, that's a cute little bunny" or whatever, and then the next couple panels it shows the little girl's skull burning in a window right next to it.
Damn, bro.
Yeah, it shows a UPS truck with a light pole through the window killing the driver. They were those drivers.
Yeah. I get that.
This is 3 years later. I don't know if I said the length of the time jump. So there was 3 years of him running around, just killing. What he doesn't go out of his way to kill a bunch of people, but as soon as the army or anybody. So the reason why that he killed that little girl is because the army showed up.
Okay.
Because the army showed up. He was being normal to the little kid. He was like, "Hi, bunny," or whatever.
So he'll still go get breakfast and shit.
Yeah. He doesn't hide.
Yeah,
he walks around without a shirt on.
I saw that.
he just hangs out. He looks like Fat Thor, and Sam and a whole team of the military has been tracking him and trying to take him out. They haven't been able to take him out. Sam is now a writer for a newspaper, and that's why he's going with the military to write about it. So they keep trying to take out Eric, and they're not doing very well. And then we get caught up with Hugh and Alma every once in a while, and their life is just the most depressing thing ever. It's super realistic. Hugh is completely paralyzed. Alma won't leave him. She takes care of every single thing he ever needs. They have no money now because of all the stuff they had to pay. Their life's terrible. And Eric's still out there just living and doing shit. So
this is rough, bro.
I told you, it made me feel feelings. So we're about at the end here.
Thank God none of this is real.
Oh my God. So here at the end, one of the generals comes up to Sam and goes, "Hey, this is where they explain the telekinesis theory." They're like, "Hey, if he has telekinesis, he's got an invisible bubble that reflects heat and pressure and blah, blah, blah." They go, "But you can still see him, which means light can go through. So we're going to laser this motherfucker."
Oh.
So they put a badass laser. They call it the bad motherfucker. Mm-hmm. They put it on a Humvee, and they attack him with a bunch of people like they normally do and just sacrifice like a whole platoon of men. And then they shoot a couple like bunker busters at him to soften him up, is what they say, to distract him basically.
Right.
So it shows the bunker busters hit him, and as he's walking, as the smoke clears, he's on like a little floating pedestal where the bubble goes, and all around under him is the giant crater. And then he walks like across the air, and then as he's walking away, the pedestal falls that he was standing on. It's a really cool part.
Right.
And as he's just kind of hanging out, they shoot him from like 2 miles away with the laser, and it goes straight through his telekinetic force field and goes through his leg and just decimate. Oh, his lower leg is just gone. It's hanging on by a thread, basically. And they're like, "Yeah, we got him. Keep shooting." And they shoot a bunch of times, and then finally they shoot him and they get him through his guts. And they're like, we killed him. Let's go over there and confirm the kill or whatever." So they go over there to confirm the kill. He's not there, but there's blood everywhere. And they saw that they shot him in the guts. So he flies off, and they can't find him. This is the like wrap up, almost the wrap up part. So Sam is, like I said, with the military convoy. He kind of runs into Eric on accident. So they have like a last little talk.
Right.
They have a last little talk with each other about why he did this, why he did that, whatever. And he doesn't really explain much. Sam's asking him, why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? And he only like skirts the issue basically. And then the military like rolls up from outside and just starts just absolutely fighting Eric. They're just going at it. It's the biggest last battle. They call it the last battle.
Right.
So he wins. Eric wins.
What?
Like all those people are dead. Like he won.
What?
So like at the end, he's standing there with Sam, and he's like fucked up. Eric like I said, he was already fucked up.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I guess he looked more fucked up even after. Like I think somehow they were getting him. Like that last. God damn it. The last battle was actually hurting him.
Okay.
So he's like even more fucked up than when the lasers got him. So he picks up Sam and throws him. Just absolutely launches him like a missile. Sam goes, the wind rushed down my throat into my lungs, and I thought they were gonna explode and this and that. But what happens is Eric throws him and transfers part of his power to Sam and allows Sam to like fly away. And Sam said as soon as he felt that, he felt like he was never gonna die. No, he goes, I was sure I was gonna die, and then I was sure I wasn't ever going to die. I felt like, you know what I mean? He's just describing what it felt like to be like Eric. Eric like circled him around, let him feel it for a minute, and then dropped him down. And there was the final the last option that the military was going to use was nukes on him. So the two birds are flying around with nukes, and there's nobody on the ground to tell them what to do anymore. So Eric's got his telekinesis or whatever. He uses it to arm the nukes and shoot the nukes at himself, and he blows himself up at the end and ends it. So the end is the very wrap-up epilogue, I guess you could say, is Eric's dead. Hugh and Alma are still together, but their life is straight garbage and miserable.
Right.
They don't really like talking to Sam anymore. They don't really communicate with Sam.
What the hell? Sam didn't do nothing?
So Sam buys a boat and goes out and kind of starts to live his life to the fullest at the end, and that's the epilogue. So very realistic in the fact that not a true happy ending for really anybody. Just terrible things happen to people for no good reason.
The bastards.
The good guys don't usually win. Life is not fair. It's gross and ugly and bloody and pussy and nasty.
Pussy.
Yeah.
Dude, that was cool, man. So like I thought
so good.
I thought the meteor was gonna be like an entity, and that dream he had was some previous life and that's why it's not Eric, it's something that took him over. I also thought when I asked how many people did he save, that one of them were gonna be affected by the meteor, and that was gonna be like the bad guy.
Yeah.
And then when he started going bad, I was like, oh, maybe that'll be the good guy.
Yeah.
Or what if Sam has powers?
The point was he saved maybe 15, 20 people, but then he murdered. Oh, at the end, Sam says, the army says you've killed over 300 people. And he goes, oh, they're lowballing it so they don't look bad about it.
Yeah, right. Probably a lot more.
Killed like thousands of
Holy
people.
shit, that was rad, and that was crazy as hell.
There was like little parts of levity throughout it. Not a lot, though. It stayed pretty grim. The art is spot on for the story.
Oh, yeah, do your...
faces. How are the faces? Pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the brothers are supposed to look similar.
Right.
They did have completely different haircuts and whatnot, so it wasn't like, oh, it's impossible to tell.
Yeah.
The faces, very expressive. Extremely
from what
expressive.
I saw, it looks fine, yeah.
Yes, Sam's especially. Mm-hmm. He, like I said, he's pretty much
I saw after when he got beat up.
Yeah, here's another one that's just amazing photos. Like, there's his face all beat up, and there's it, like, scarred up.
It's actually really, really good art, too.
It is. I love it. It's amazing. Kind of dark.
Sounds like a overall good fucking
Oh, my God.
book.
I was so psyched that I got a good one, man.
All right, it's time to fight.
Bing, bang, boom.
It's time for me to freaking lose again. Here we go.
I don't know.
I might. All right, so this is Matt versus Adam. This is where we take a random character generator and we see who would win in a fight between the guy, gal, animal, or whatever
Mineral,
character that him and I get here. Oh, score. Awesome. All right, so we got Marvel, DC, anime, video games, and cartoon characters.
You can just stop saying the anime
The
one.
anime.
So you're gonna make people want us to do it when we're not. So
that'll make Sam show up.
finally force
We'll be
him.
like, Sam, people are texting or messaging us.
They're flooding us.
They're flooding
with
us.
requests.
There is 4 people that have
gonna
messaged
say,
us
yeah.
about the anime.
Yeah.
Well, look, we did it once, okay?
We tried.
And we don't know them all. And,
No.
and trying to, like, look up these characters on, like, Heroes Wiki is one thing. Trying to look up an anime character's powers is
It's
another
a
thing.
nightmare.
Because episode 1, they're weaker than episode 99. And who knows
The
what
power
they can
scaling
do.
is hard.
Yeah, it's insane. So, I believe you wanted to do video game,
Yeah,
right?
I think it's been a second.
So you're gonna go first. Click
Just the middle?
Yeah, click the screen. Is it going?
No,
No. Do it again.
there it goes.
Is it going?
Yep. Come on, something good.
It's going now. Okay.
We got him before, I'm pretty sure. So let's see.
No, we never have.
I got
Joel.
Yep.
So you're Nathan Drake.
Nathan Drake from Uncharted. So Matt's gonna win for sure because I'm just a
No,
guy.
I'm not. Watch. I'm gonna get like.
You're gonna get like a rabbit or something.
Yeah,
No,
something
you're gonna
stupid.
win for sure. I got fucking Nathan Drake.
Yeah, I got Samus.
Ah, yeah.
Samus.
Samus? The
The chick from Metroid.
yeah, Samus.
All right. So Nathan Drake's just a regular dude.
Yeah.
Right?
So
Like,
under your outfit,
completely-
you are a regular chick, but
I
you
am.
roll around with your shit all the time.
Ooh,
so.
do I have my suit?
So, yeah, because like there's plenty of games later where she plays without her suit.
Oh, really?
But yeah, that's where her red outfit comes from, where you can actually tell that it's a woman.
Yeah.
So
Well,
there-
that she jumps out at the end.
that's how you find out originally. But yeah, there's
But
later
yeah.
games where you actually play with her out
Oh,
of the
no
suit.
kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So, out of suit, even if you had a gun, I would say I would probably win that one just because I'm so amazing with shooting and I'm used to not having armor and shit. So I would say if that was the situation, I would probably win. Even though you're a badass for sure.
Right.
I would say in those circumstances, I would probably win most of the time. But in the circumstances that I would say are more usual for you, meaning in your suit, I think there's probably almost no doubt that.
I mean, yeah, would I go to the club? Would I go get pizza or hot dog without my suit?
But I mean, all these other people we talk about, like, are walking around with whatever. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but if we got Thor, we go, he's got Mjolnir.
Yeah, exactly.
So what we exclude is like when I got Marge
Extra
Simpson,
shit.
you're like, no Homer.
Yeah, yeah.
And when we did Trevor, you had your rage.
Yep.
So like we
Something you could carry, stuff you could like easily carry on you. So like a pocket gun.
Ben 10,
whatever.
I had my
Omnitrix,
wrist thing.
yeah.
So there's that. So
Yeah.
I guess we would go with that.
you,
But
you looking up the heroes?
yeah, the
wiki?
power skills
Yeah.
here. So this is Nathan Drake, genius,
Oh, okay.
encyclopedic and historical knowledge, peak human condition,
Yeah.
skilled marksmanship, master combatant, free runner, climber. He knows his weapons. He can drive, tactician, strategy expert, thief, stealth, bilingualism, and master swimmer.
You know, it's funny. In some ways, we're kind of similar.
Yeah, I was about to say this is gymnastics, unarmed combat, martial arts, wrestling, melee, gunmanship, high level intelligence, stealth, markswoman, intellect, computers, hacking, speaking in Chozo language,
Chozo.
precondition, willpower.
Preconditioned willpower, maybe.
Oh, so there's a DNA fusion. So it's not just a suit. There's like some DNA
Okay.
fusion going on.
Okay.
And also,
Yeah, I didn't know that.
So basically, yeah, if I have any of that, she's ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
Like super speed.
Yeah, yeah. Her suit is sick. You
Yeah.
can turn into a ball.
So let me right. Let me see if this is like actual DNA, like what it says. If
Yeah.
it's-
So I think it's just the interface.
Oh, it might not be her suit.
I think. Well, no, I'm saying like the DNA thing is the way she interfaces maybe with the suit.
As a result of her warrior training from childhood and infusion with Chozo DNA,
That's what it was.
Samus's body transcends peak human condition and is highly durable and
There you go.
adaptable.
Well, that's the answer.
Being able to survive falls that would kill a regular human. Yeah.
So even out of your suit, you're
even-
tougher.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
okay.
So that means in the Chozo DNA stuff, that would be.
Those are just the weird aliens that you kill, right?
I
in
guess
the game?
there's something.
I feel like that. I don't know much.
So yeah, some of these they're all say fusions or infusions, and then you have so paraphernalia. That's where the suits come in.
All the different kinds of
Yeah, power suit,
gun
zero
arms.
suit. So that's so in my blood. So even without a suit,
Like pops out of you, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you're just saying, yeah, you're a badass even without the suit.
without the
Gotcha.
suit, she has
Yeah.
DNA stuff going
Yeah.
on. So it's
Okay, so let's do it out of the suit, but you have your some weapons on you. I would say you still fucking win.
yeah, I was gonna say
Because it
here.
said transcends peak human. Mine is just
Yeah.
peak human.
Superhuman agility, enhanced superhuman strength, reflexes, enhanced
Yeah.
senses,
Yeah.
psionic abilities.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just trained. You're like made.
The other DNA fusion has life force absorption, energy, X parasite absorption, invincibility. That's the suit. So
Yeah,
she's
okay,
not
okay.
invincible.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or she's
I didn't
not
think she was
invincible.
Okay.
So like I said, the paraphernalia on the list are the suits.
Yeah.
So just her is the stuff I said, the athletics,
Yeah.
intelligence.
A lot still.
But she has formally, so that means she has Chozo or Metroid DNA fusion.
Right.
So in the DNA, yeah, it's life force absorption. You're just a regular dude, and I'm clapping them cheeks.
Yeah, you are. That's
All
gonna be
right.
that's gonna be a nice reverse bang right there.
Where the chick is
Yeah.
clapping chicks.
I like that fight actually.
It's pretty cool.
We're similar enough where it makes sense to like compare the two, and it's not a complete blow out of the water either. So that's cool.
What would it be if it was just no DNA fusion,
That's what I was
just
saying.
regular people?
Because
Because she had warrior training, and she's a warrior. Like, she
Yeah.
has been training her whole life.
like I said, I would say let's do percentages in that way. I would say you're 60, I'm 40 on a lot of fights. And then if you were in the suit, you're looking at like 90 and 10 or something.
You
like
might
that.
drop a boulder on me. If
I
that
could get
hurt
lucky
me.
and shimmy across a ledge real quick or whatever.
Oh, you got them climbing skills,
I
bro.
do. I could probably get a. You have, wait, dude. You turn into a ball and you can like
Yeah.
you jump and like
You're right.
do so much shit.
And you fight regular people. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure. No, he fights some supernatural
like
stuff, right?
monsters and shit sometimes. Yeah.
Okay, so like as the final bosses, like Tomb Raider, they
Yeah, it's kind of similar.
like a giant samurai.
I
and
feel
then
like it was.
a sun god.
I think I played it once. It was too much of a movie for me.
Yeah,
I didn't
it's-
want to watch cutscenes for half of the show.
Yeah, and then the cutscenes will turn into the actual game.
I wouldn't
they'll
notice
zoom in
sometimes.
and you're just like, oh shit,
I wouldn't notice
I'm
sometimes.
supposed to
and
be
die.
driving down this hill.
Yeah, I would die. I'd kill myself on accident sometimes, for sure.
All right, so that's 1410.
Yeah,
All right.
1410. Let me write it down so you don't try to.
I hope we said her name right. People are gonna get mad. Samus.
No, it's Samus.
Samus.
Yeah, Samus for sure.
Samus.
Because of Brawl or whatever.
Oh.
The fighting game.
Brawlhalla.
No, Jesus Christ. The Nintendo.
Super Smash Bros.
Yeah, they say it on that all the time.
Samus.
Yeah.
Samus.
Yeah.
All right.
What did you try to say the first? Samus?
Samus. Yeah, like
I'm-
Seamus, but
Yeah.
there's no E. It's just
I
S.
never heard that one before. That's crazy.
It's just so Samus.
Yeah.
Samus.
Samus. Yeah. Well, that was cool. I like that fight.
It's a cool fight. It's a cool fight. All right. We are on Instagram, Facebook, X. New episodes every Monday on Spotify, and new episodes video form
Yeah.
on YouTube.
On YouTube, same day.
So if you're on Spotify or any podcast platform that you listen to us on, if you see the review thing, hit us with a 5-star. I don't know much about
8
it, but
stars. We need 8 stars.
it apparently helps out a lot.
Yeah, apparently.
So take the time. It's just a few buttons for y'all, and apparently it's a lot for us.
yeah, it only costs you like $400 too.
Yeah, a month.
Yeah,
That's not bad.
That's not
That's a
bad.
good deal.
that's bad. That's not bad.
Also on YouTube, like, subscribe, all that crap. We're those guys now.
The YouTube videos also have the actual art in it as well.
Yeah, so if we try to focus, like if we're talking about something we thought was very cool, we will put it in the YouTube
Try,
video.
for the
So
most part.
if you want to see basically the things we're talking about,
The art that we cannot describe
Yes.
is the best.
you can see it on YouTube. The YouTube has full episodes on it.
Yeah.
It just with the comic pages.
And the 100 Years of Continuity is on there too.
Yep, as also on YouTube. So anyone's been liking, interacting with the pages, watching, listening, we appreciate it deeply.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you very much. And that's it for this week, man.
No, I think we covered it all.
We got it. Y'all have a good one.
Bye.